Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk again a little bit about coaching, because again, that's a problem. We have a problem in the market. Salespeople are not hitting their numbers. We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem in the market. Now, before I jump into this, if you haven't checked out the Sales Mastery Academy, you need to do so. I've added some great new courses, and the curriculum I got coming up for next year is going to be awesome. So go to salesmasteryacademy.us and check it out. All right, today's title for today's podcast should be Grow Your Sales Managers. GROW is the acronym. Now, it's not an acronym I came up with. It's a model that's used for coaching salespeople. Now, if you're a sales manager and you have to coach your salespeople, we know that, what you talk about and what you agree upon it matters, because once you get out of that room, once you leave that meeting, the salesperson has to manage and do his own thing. Now, I want to talk about our approach as a sales coach. There's tactical and then there's strategic, right? Tactical and strategic. And too often, as sales managers, our tendency, especially if we used to be salespeople, let me say that again. Our tendency, especially if we used to be a salesperson, is to go towards the tactical, to help salespeople close deals at a tactical level. Say this, do this, call this, whatever it may be. Tactical, as opposed to being strategic. And again, it's okay. When you were in sales and you are a salesperson having to close deals, you had to be tactical. You had to use face-to-face, belly-to-belly, tactical conversation strategies to try to persuade and convince the customer to buy. But now you're a sales manager, and your job is to persuade your salespeople on an approach that's going to help them go off on their own and make their number. So again, instead of going tactical, I need to pull you back, sales managers, take you out of your sales position. I know you want to go in there and sell with them, but I need to pull you back into your management slot and be a manager. And think strategically first, tactical second. Let me give you a formula, or at least an approach that will help you stay in your lane. And once in a while, you can tap over it and help them on the tactical side. Let me show you how. Look, if you're talking to a salesperson, I want you to keep this acronym in mind, rather. If you're sitting down, write it out. It's called GROW. And I learned this one, and I think it's a great little acronym because it gives you a framework for having a good conversation at a strategic level with your salesperson before you moved into a tactical conversation with your salesperson. GROW stands for goal, reality, opportunity, and way forward. Let's walk through it. When you're talking to your salesperson and you're doing, let's say, either an account review or a pipeline review, the first thing you want to do is ask the salesperson, okay, for this account, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? What is your goal? Okay? Even if you're looking at the whole pipeline, what is your goal? Right? You want the salesperson to tell you, to articulate to you, what is your goal? And the more specificity you can pull from the salesperson, the more it really helps them understand their own situation. Let me say that again, because it's real subtle what I just said. In order to get salespeople to really intrinsically believe what they have to do and what they need to do, sometimes we have to get them to articulate that. And by them doing so, it reinforces in their mind what they need to be doing. So ask them, what is your goal? Then the second question in the GROW model is, what's the reality? What's the reality of the situation? And I'm going to give you an example in just a bit. Let me just give you the outline first. What's the reality of that situation? I know you're trying to accomplish this. That's your goal. But now let's get real. Let's keep it real. What's the reality of the situation? Once you discuss the reality, then talk about what is the opportunity. What is the opportunity here? And then once you discuss the opportunity, now it's execution time. What's the way forward? What should we be doing? What do we need to do? And then from right there, then you can have a tactical conversation specifically on what needs to be done. Now, to make this concrete, to make it tangible in your mind, let's use a real-world example. Again, you're a sales coach, you're talking to your salesperson, and what you're saying is, tell me about this, what's your goal? And the salesperson says, right now, my goal is to focus on getting this major account. I want to get that major account, the big ABC company. Then, second question, okay, so what's the reality? You ask the salesperson. I know you want to get that account, but what's the reality? And the salesperson now has to articulate to you what is the reality. This will give you a sense of how much research the salesperson has actually done. Because saying is one thing, I want that account. Being able to articulate why and what's going on is another. So you ask for what's the reality. And what you're hoping is that the salesperson says, well, the reality is this, Victor. Right now, we have our major competitor is in there. They've been entrenched for 2 years now. But I know that the customer, the ABC company, is not really happy with them and is maybe looking for a second source supplier. Also, the approval process is long, so this is not a short sales cycle situation. This could take me 2 months. And again, timing has to be right. And as of today, we only have 1 or 2 connections within the company. That's the reality of the situation. See, that would be a good summary. That's a salesperson who's actually looked at the account, analyzed it from a competitive standpoint, from an access standpoint. What can we get in there? Who do we know? And what's the opportunity in terms of revenue? And again, articulate that as well. I see this account being, this big. That moves us into the opportunity part, right? So again, the first one was set the goal. What's the goal? Get this account. What's the reality? Competitors are in there, long approval cycle, timing has to be right, and we only have a few connections. That's the reality. What's the opportunity? If we can get in, the opportunity, I believe, is going to be between $1 to $2 million in the first year and maybe grow gradually after that. So first year revenues, let's say it's $1.5 million. As a sales manager, you're like, I like this. All right, well, great. I love what you said so far. So now what's the way forward, salesperson? Now notice that the sales manager is asking the salesperson for all this information. At this point, you as a sales manager should just ask questions. Listen, ask questions. Listen, clarify, ask questions. Then, Mr. Salesperson, what's the way forward? What's your strategy? And again, if a salesperson has thought through this, they're going to be able to articulate their strategy. They may say it like this. All right, our first step is to find the right connections, right? How do we do that? Again, we want to get in there and we want to make sure that we get a field trial. That's the way forward. Make the connections, get in there, get a field trial, get our product approved, and then be able to do some future RFPs or be invited to bid. That's a good way forward. Get the connections. Then next step would be get a field trial, get the product approved, get in their system, and then be in a situation where we can actually bid. Oh, I love it. So again, goal, reality, opportunity, that's the way forward. That's strategic stuff. Now, you as a sales manager, now you help the salesperson shift into tactical. How are you going to do that? And then now you can start having the tactical discussion. Now you as a sales manager, if you were a salesperson in the past, now you can start pontificating, sharing information of how you did it. You can say something like this. Look, have we looked at LinkedIn? Let's triangulate. Let's look at online connections. Let's look at offline referrals and then begin an online engagement process. A couple of likes, a couple of responses to their posts, whatever it may be. And then you may also want to start an outreach program, right? Kind of a Basho email / voicemail program where you actually send, it's a 3x3x3. You send 3 you do 3 voicemails, 3 emails over the course of 3 weeks. In other words, every week you're calling for the next 3 weeks. You call, you don't get an answer, you leave a voicemail with your value proposition. By the way, if you don't know how to do that, check out my predictable prospecting system in the Sales Mastery Academy. So you call 3 times, and again, every time you have to leave a voicemail, you have something of value and insightful to say. Then you follow up with an email, and you do this for 3 weeks. That's the tactical side of this. But now let's zoom back to the original point of this podcast. Grow your sales managers. You as sales managers, if you're listening to me, you have to learn to let salespeople articulate their strategy and using this grow framework, tell me what your goal is, tell me about the realities, what are the opportunities, and tell me about your way forward. If you do this, you'll let your salesperson tell you what they're going to do, which builds their confidence in what they're doing. That is real coaching. And that is it for this Sales Influence podcast. Don't forget to leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube. Let me know what you think. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, check out my online sales training platform, the Sales Mastery Academy. Great new programs. You got to check it out. salesmasteryacademy.us. So if you're serious about increasing your sales ability or your coaching ability, go to salesmasteryacademy.us. Lastly, I want to thank you for listening. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.